It is the 11th of April, 1861. Troops of the newly formed Army of the Confederate States of America are informally besieging Fort Sumter, a crucial strategic fort in South Carolina's Charleston Harbor manned by federal troops, with the initial aim of starving said troops out and occupying the fort without bloodshed. Acting on the orders of Confederate President Jefferson Davis, a surrender ultimatum is issued to Union troops led by Major Robert Anderson, who swiftly refused the ultimatum despite supplies running perilously low. Therefore, the next day at 4:30 a.m. on the 12th of April, 1861, the order to fire on Fort Sumter was given by Captain George S. James, where artilleryman Lieutenant Henry Farley executed the order by firing a 10-inch mortar round on Fort Sumter, thus officially becoming the man who fired the first shot in the American Civil War. But that was the official account regarding the first shot fired in the American Civil War. The question thus arises, is there any other quote-unquote first shot in the Civil War, even if unofficial? This is the historiographer, and today we will explore two other lesser-known instances that might be contenders for the title of the first shot in the Civil War. Following South Carolina's secession on the 20th of December 1860, a flurry of renegade activity began to take place all over the southern US states. This activity was the seizing of federal property, ranging from weapons to full-on forts and fortresses, a seizing that was done either by local bands of citizens or by the governments of secessionist states. It is on this context that on the 8th of January 1861 that a group of armed Floridian citizens attempted to take over Fort Barrancas in Pensacola Bay in northeastern Florida. Expecting the fort to be unmanned, the Floridians approached the fort manned by Union Lieutenant Slemmer and his garrison of 50 men. After not heeding to Slemmer's warning, Lieutenant Slemmer ordered his men to fire warning shots, which subsequently dispersed the armed party without casualties. As such, this instance can be technically considered the first shot in the Civil War. However, note that while the majority of sources place Slemmer's warning shots on the 8th of January, a few other sources place it on the 10th, which would make it secondary to another, better recorded event that definitively happened on the 9th of January 1861, the firing on a federal steamer called the Star of the West. This steamer was attempting to resupply the strangled garrison of Fort Sumter via the orders of Abraham Lincoln himself, who even previously notified the secessionist government of South Carolina regarding the ship's arrival. The government of South Carolina, however, had none of it, as it had grown tired of federal troops holding their ground on a strategic fort right in the middle of Charleston Harbor, vital for South Carolina's cotton export economy. This is why, with the arrival of the federal ship at the harbor on the 9th of November, it was fired upon and hit by a cadet gunner named George Hainsworth from the nearby Citadel Academy, where the ship immediately withdrew, equally without casualties. While the two aforementioned January shots in Florida and in South Carolina are technically contenders for the first shot in the American Civil War, the real first shot was indeed fired at Fort Sumter by April 12, 1861, for one simple reason. The Confederacy as we know it was not officially formed until the 8th of February 1861, nearly 1 month after the two explored incidents. In conclusion, the official first shot was indeed fired on the 12th of April 1861, hence sparking the American Civil War. However, it is worth noting that one must look at history in a continuous cause and effect manner, and that defining the start of a historical event via rigid dates without exploring the underlying causes is all but meaningless. If you like this video, consider subscribing to the channel to spread history. This has been the historiographer, and for now, see you in the next video.